Hi there, welcome to the Schwowin's Nest. My name is Sandra, and here on my channel I do lots of seasonal home decor, specifically in the farmhouse style. So if that's something you'd like to see more of, hit that subscribe button and let's get crafting. Today's projects are all about using up these signs and different wood items that I have in my stash. I've got so much stuff in my closets and cupboards that I really need to start using what I have and stop going to the store. But that's really hard to do because I know that the dollar stores are always coming out with some new crafting supplies. I'm giving this a couple of coats of white chalk paint just on the bottom to make sure that the color is all the same. And I did remove that top piece using my box cutter. I found these little wood snowmen and some Christmas trees too at Christmas time at the Dollar Tree, and I hadn't used them at all, so I decided to use these as little feet. I've seen other people do that, and I think they just turn out absolutely beautiful. I'm taking this stain that I have. It's sort of a brown gray. It's a little bit of burnt umber and some black mixed in with some water. I keep it in this little squeeze bottle, and then it's really easy to just squeeze it out onto my wood projects and stain them whatever color I want. I flipped my sign over now that it's dry, and I'm going to use hot glue to attach these little snowmen. I'm putting them right side up, but they'll actually be upside down once I flip this little tray over. I'm going to add these rub-on transfers from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use 2 of the smaller sprigs and 1 larger one. I'm going to have all of these coming out from the corners. I'm starting with the larger one, and then I'll put a smaller one on either of the corners directly next to the large one. Once I'm done with all of that, I'm going to just take a little bit of gray chalk paint and my dry brush and just give this a little bit of distressing so this part looks a little bit more like the sides. And then this project is done. Really fast, quick, and easy, but looks amazing. These wooden spoons have been in my stash for a really long time. I'm taking some burnt umber acrylic paint and a little bit of water to make a stain, and I'm just going to brush that on the backside of each of the spoons. And then I'm going to do a little bit down on the handle of the spoons as well. Once I've got the stain applied, I'm just going to take a rag and wipe off the excess. I cut out 3 designs using my Cricut. I've got a bee, a butterfly, and a tulip. I'm going to apply these onto the spoons and then paint over them in a different color. Once I'm done painting, I'll be able to remove these stickers and show the stained image underneath. I didn't bother using any of the transfer tape. I just peeled them off. But if you're more comfortable using the transfer tape so nothing tears like these tiny little legs, go ahead and do that. Next, I'm going to mask off parts of the stem of the spoons, just using a couple of different sizes of painter's tape and masking tape. This is just going to give it a really fun little whimsical touch. I've got 3 different colors that I'm going to use for the spoons. This one is sort of a light sagey color. It's really pretty. It's something that I just mixed together, a little bit of green and some blue. And then there's another color that's called eucalyptus, which is from Martha Stewart chalk paints. And the last one is just a sage chalk paint. Once the paint was dry, I started to peel off the tape, and then I used my weeding tool to pull off the sticker on the top of the spoon. To finish off these spoons, I used some black and white gingham ribbon, some greenery, different types of florals, some lavender on one of them, and then I had these little tiny wood cutouts from the dollar stores that I just stained in the same burnt umber and added those as the finishing touch. I think these spoons turned out really fun. If you like what you see so far, I'd love it if you could give me a thumbs up. When you hit the like button, YouTube recommends my video to other viewers, and that helps support the growth of my channel. This is a cute little palette that I get at my local dollar store called Dollarama. It is only in Canada, but you guys have Dollar General. You've got tons more stuff at the Dollar Tree, so I'm sure you'll be able to find something like this if you wanted to recreate this project. I'm adding some Mod Podge just to the bottom 2 slats first, and then I'm going to take this lavender. Now, this is a window cling. Yes, it also came from Dollarama, but I know that Dollar Tree carries a ton of different types of window clings. We just don't get that good selection up here in Canada. So I'm going to take this one, I'm going to just cut it to size, and then I'm going to place it right at the very bottom of the little pallet sign, and I'm going to cover the whole thing with this window decal. Now that I've got the bottom 2 all smoothed out, I'll add some more Mod Podge to the top 2 slats and then just press it all together. I'm going to let it dry face down so the weight of the sign itself is enough to just hold everything in place until it dries. I'm using my craft knife to just very carefully go around the edges and trim off any of the excess window cling. What I'm doing here is just taking some really short strokes because I don't want to inadvertently pull off the window cling if it's not 100% dry yet. I cut these letters out using my laser machine. That's what I use for all of my craft kits as well. And I'm considering putting up some alphabet sets of wood cutouts. If that's something that interests you, let me know down in the comments because I know you can get a lot of wood letter cutouts from the Dollar Tree, but they tend to be kind of plain. And I really love this font, and I have a whole bunch of other fonts that I'd love to be able to share with you as craft kits on my Etsy shop. So again, let me know if that would be something you would like to see. I cut a length of wire, and now I'm taking this piece of scrap ribbon that I have, and I'm going to be hot gluing it right onto the wire. I believe that Dollar Tree does carry some twine wrapped wire as well, but I didn't have any on hand, so I decided to make do with what I did have on hand. This is going to become the hanger for my little sign, and I'm going to use a generous amount of hot glue on either side and then glue it in place. Because this is wired, I'm definitely going to have to hang on to it a little bit until the glue has a chance to set up. My idea for this was to not just leave this a wired sort of jute looking hanger. I'm actually going to take some lavender sprigs and glue them right onto the hanger itself. And that's just going to give it a little bit more of a decorative feel. I don't know what you would call it, but I just thought it would be so pretty to have the lavender actually be the hanger. These 2 sprigs of lavender were the perfect length for the hanger. And now I'm going to take some of the greenery from these same stems. These are the ones you can get at the Dollar Tree. And I don't usually get a whole lot of lavender from the Dollar Tree. So when I see them, I scoop them up. I'm going to finish this off. And then this is a beautiful piece to hang on the wall or lean up against a shelf or some other decor. I picked up this bunny on a little wood pedestal or candlestick at my local Dollarama store, and it is actually quite pretty just on its own. The back isn't finished, so that would be something that I would change anyway. And the florals were pretty, but just really not my style. So what I'm doing here is just painting the top portion of it gray. I'm also going to be painting the back of it gray, so it has the same look on both sides. And I'm going to leave the thickness on the sides of the bunny in white. I've got a buffalo check black and white napkin from the Dollar Tree that I've cut down into some strips, and I'm going to use Mod Podge and place it all along the side of the bunny in that thick spot. That's why I wanted to keep it white. So I'm going to very gently just press it in with my fingers and then continue working all the way around the one edge of the bunny, and then I'll do the other side too. Once the Mod Podge had dried, I just took this rough emery board and very gently just started sanding off the excess tissue paper. So the main reason that I painted the sides of the bunny gray is just to camouflage those bright colors from the florals underneath. Now I'm going to take a dry brush with some white chalk paint and go over the bunny and do it pretty heavily. I'm starting off fairly light to make sure that I don't go too heavy, but I end up doing about 3 or 4 layers of dry brushing just to bring out a little bit more brightness with the white chalk paint. I got this set of silicone floral stamps from bbcraft.com. And if you're not familiar with Beebee Craft, they have a ton of crafting supplies that are really not that expensive. And I do have a link for them down in my description box. I'm going to peel off these silicone stamps and then place them down the way I would stamp them to create a pattern. I'm starting off with some of the larger florals, and then I'm going to pull off some of the smaller ones and then add some bits of greenery as well. Now I'm going to take what's called the mask, which is literally just the sheet that covers up the stamps, and you'll be able to just press this down and that will become your surface of stamping. So all of the stamps will stick to this piece of plastic, and then you'll be able to ink it up and use it over and over again. The ink I use is just from a dollar store. It was $4 or $5 for this ink pad, and I really like it because the sponge part of it is nice and soft, so you get really good ink adhesion on your stamps. I'm going to very carefully place it on my rabbit and then hold it down with one hand and then use the other hand or fingers to just press down very gently, trying really hard not to move the stamps. I like how this pattern turned out. I think it's really pretty. It has just enough amount of greenery and stems, and this looks so pretty against the rustic background of the bunny. I'm going to go ahead and ink up the stamps again and then just turn the stamps so they don't go on exactly the same way, and then I'll be able to just fill up the bunny. I think I finally mastered the messy bow, and I really enjoy making them now. I used to kind of dread making them because they wouldn't turn out, but I've kind of embraced the not so perfect look of them. I'm taking some of this wider ribbon from the Dollar Tree in a beautiful gray color, and I'm just going to be trimming it down into 3 narrower pieces. I also have some black and white twine. I have some cotton rope that I'm going to be pulling apart, and I also have some buffalo check ribbon that I'll also be cutting down a little bit narrower. It's been easier for me to lay down a piece of twine up and down like you see me doing here, and then laying my ribbons across, and that just makes sure that I have something to tie everything in place once I'm done. So I'm just going to start layering my ribbons in not really a pattern, but just kind of grabbing them, moving them around every which way, and just trying to make sure that they all stay in place. This gray one was really giving me a hard time. Once I felt that it was fluffy enough, I took the piece of twine and then just simply tied a really snug knot, making sure that it was in the center. I fluffed it up a little bit and kind of bent some of the ribbons down so they'd be hanging, and then just trimmed off any of them that were a little too long. Then I'm going to just glue this right on top of my bunny and give him a sweet little bow right at his neck. I finally found my stash of buttons, so I added a white one. I'm also going to add a few little greenery sprigs and some pretty pink flowers. For the final touch, I added a couple of pieces of greenery to the bottom of the candlestick and added a couple of pink flowers there too. I really love how my bunny turned out, and I hope you love him too. This is one of those Gothic windows that you can get at the Dollar Tree, but I didn't like that extra little frame that they had on the top. So I took one of these wood carving tools from the Dollar Tree as well. They come in a set of 4, and this is the flat piece, and it works really well for just getting underneath there and pulling up anything that's been glued down with their heavy duty glue. Once I'm done with this, I'll just sand it down and make it smooth. I have one of these boxes that is part of a drawer kit from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just put a bunch of hot glue on the one side and glue it to the back of my window. I'm going to just put it on top of the little ledge there, and then I'll add some little pieces that you can see here to the bottom to level it out and make everything sit nice and straight. I'm going to give the whole box and the window one really good coat of my DIY chalk paint. And if you're interested in that recipe, I do have it listed down in my description box. You'll have to scroll all the way down to the bottom, and I do have the products that I use listed there as well. I've printed some designs on tissue paper, putting it through my inkjet printer, and I have a tutorial listed in my description box for that as well, and it's called How to Print on Tissue Paper. It takes you step by step through everything you need to know to make it work. I'm going to add Mod Podge to where I want my tissue paper transfer to be, and then I'll just add it on there. Go over it with some Mod Podge, again, making sure that my brush always has a bit of Mod Podge on it, because otherwise I might tear the tissue paper. I've used a little eucalyptus design here, and I'm also going to use a vintage rabbit that I found on Pixabay. I thought it would be fun to have the bunny kind of sitting behind the eucalyptus. So I'm going to go ahead and add this on there, but I do end up pulling away a little bit so it doesn't cover up all of the bunny. I also added some of the tissue paper greenery on the box behind the window just to make it all blend together. Once everything was dry, I just used my scissors and a little bit of the emery board to just gently get rid of any of the excess tissue paper. Finally, I added a little black and white vintage butterfly and then filled the box with some faux greenery. And I am in love with how this window turned out. Thanks a bunch for spending some of your time with me today. I truly appreciate it. And if you're interested in getting any of these decor items for your home, they'll be up for sale on my Etsy shop. If you like what you saw, remember to give me a thumbs up, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on anything else I have to share, and of course, hit that subscribe button. The black arrow will point you in the right direction. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.